It's your pre-market summary for Thursday, November 3rd. The post-Powell sell-off continuing this morning. Futures back in negative territory after we ended yesterday basically at session lows as the Fed not only giving us more hawkish talk saying they're not even close to a pivot, but also saying they're going to go higher with the ultimate interest rate that they want to get to than first thought. Here's a look at the futures right now. Downside, as I mentioned, in a pretty big way here. 0.8 for the S&P, 0.62 for the Dow, a full percent. It is the NASDAQ leading right now, 1.07. We're negative for the futures here in Toronto as well. TSX down about 0.7. Crude oil negative. Bitcoin kind of flat along with the rest of the crypto markets this morning. Yeah, it's all about that hawkish talk that came through from the Fed yesterday. Another big red ugly candle. We're gapping down even further this morning. Back to this 372 area for the SPY overall. There are a ton of earnings reports to get through this morning, most of which are pretty negative, including ROKU down on a pretty dismal forecast for Q4 heading into the holiday season. Not good for ROKU this morning. QCOM, same story. Forecast a problem here, falling short of expectations going into the final quarter of the year. QCOM shares under pressure. Robinhood shares. I mean, if you had to pick one of the only ones kind of holding up there or thereabouts. Kathy Wood was in there yesterday with ARK buying up a whole bunch of shares into the earnings report because that's how much she believes in Robinhood. We'll talk about that coming up. Peloton's a mess. We all know that. Continues downside this morning. Their holiday forecast also missing expectation. Interesting report from Fisker. The number is not great, but they did bump up their production forecast and timeline for the Ocean SUV. So we'll talk about FSR. We saw Pfizer move on that positive note for their forecast on COVID-19 vaccine sales. Moderna, not so much. They cut their forecast for COVID-19 vaccine sales. Moderna downside this morning, and Datadog as well downside. Actually, I was wrong. Datadog higher, one of the only ones higher this morning. They beat revenue and also issued a strong forecast. So Datadog back in positive territory. There was also an acquisition announced for DDOG. We'll talk about that coming up. Use that QR code on screen right now, guys. Enter your email address. We'll send you the watch list every single morning for free. We're coming up here under a half an hour live on TraderTV.Live.